Welcome to this week's edition of Hockey Unfiltered with the regional manager, Ken Campbell. I'm Dylan Waugh, the assistant to the regional manager. And today we're going to be talking about the draft, free agency, and trades because we're unique like that.
Yeah, nobody else is talking about
Nobody else is talking about this stuff. You got to come here for this sort of hard-hitting information. Stick around. It's going to be an awesome episode. Ken, how was Montreal?
Well, let's see. I went with my wife.
So that just sucks.
Well, it sucks. You know, like it's kind of like the difference between Ozzy Osbourne and Ozzy and Harriet, the guy in Ozzy and Harriet.
Okay.
Yeah, like you're Ozzy Osbourne when your wife's not around, and you're the Ozzy guy from Ozzy and Harriet when your wife's around.
Right.
So I kind of had to act like that. We had to go cycling. I
You
fell.
love cycling.
I fell.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah, nice, eh? Look at that, eh?
Sweet.
Sweet. For the viewers at home, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Big fat thing going.
Yeah,
so
she's got a
anyways.
bruise underneath too.
I know. It's weird, hey? It's wild.
Almost looks like he played goalie.
And that one will turn a couple of different colors, I think, before we're finished. But anyway,
But you love cycling.
I do love cycling, but I don't like cycling with my wife. Oh God, you can't get going.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
got to like point everything. Oh, look at this. Let's stop for this.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's take a picture. No, let's just get on our bikes and get a workout in here.
You sound like a 7-year-old. Like, I just want to get on my bike and ride, man. Yeah, I'm going to get on my
Get
big
on my
wheel.
bike and ride, as Queen says. Just get on your bike and ride.
All right. Well, we won't. I'll skip the falsetto.
So, anyways, Montreal was great.
Yeah. It's maybe my favorite city in the world.
It's one of mine too.
Yeah.
Absolutely one of mine. Like
Yeah.
when I was traveling like from city to city, my 3 favorite cities in the NHL.
St.
In
Louis.
no real particular order. Yeah, St. Louis, Atlanta, and San Jose.
Scottsdale.
Yeah. Actually, Scottsdale's awesome. My 3 favorite cities were in no particular order: Montreal, New York, Chicago.
I mean, 3 pretty good cities.
And one, and a real dark horse, Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yeah. Lots of great bars, lots
Interesting.
going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's got a real good vibe to it. Yeah, I love Pittsburgh. I love
Interesting.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. So anywho.
Well, I mean, like Montreal, and when I say one of my favorite cities, like I mean maybe like in the world. Like a lot, like I the caveat gets thrown on Montreal all the time, which is like, oh, it's like a great North American city. It's a great city in North America.
Yeah.
But like I would say internationally, I would say that if you offered me, well, I've only been to Nice once or twice, but it's like if you offered me a plane ticket to Nice and a Via Rail ticket to Montreal, I would think about it.
Yeah, especially now it's the airports the way they are.
Yeah, well,
That was a big deal for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, to my fellow scribes,
Okay.
a small piece of advice from a dinosaur. No one gives a shit about your travel problems.
I know.
No one cares.
Us schlubs are reading it going like, oh no,
Well,
you
it's
went
true.
to the draft.
It's
and
true.
You,
Nobody cares that you're hung up at the airport. Nobody cares that they lost your bags. I've traveled to cover this game for the better part of 30 years, and I always viewed it as a privilege.
right.
I always viewed it as a privilege. I still view it as a privilege when I get a chance to do it.
Yeah.
And to me, long lineups, lost bags, canceled flights, that's all part of the job.
Cost of admission.
Suck it up. Nobody cares that your flight is delayed.
I'm pretty sure. It's funny that I'm pretty sure that about 80% of who listens to us are writers.
Really?
I get that feeling that we're kind of like, this is going to sound so cocky, but we're kind of like the Norm Macdonald of like podcasts,
That would be great.
where it's sort of
do
like,
that.
it's like not a lot of like broad, notoriety, but like the people who, you know what I mean?
We're like the Arizona Coyotes. The people who like us really like us. We just got to find more of them.
They're
We just
freaks
gotta
then is
find
what you're saying.
more.
If it's the Arizona Coyotes.
No, we just like,
Yeah.
in those little places, those little fan bases, the people who love those teams, they
Yeah.
just love that the crap out of them.
Yeah.
But they just need like
$300 a ticket. Love them.
Yeah, they would do that, but they just need more of them. They just need more.
By the way, that was my vindication. I mean, we didn't say it on the podcast, but yeah, well, we're Canadian, so when they were talking about the moving the Arizona Coyotes,
right?
My guess, I told you, I said that it could work financially, and my guesstimate was if they could do about $250 a ticket
at 5,000 tickets.
Yeah, and they're doing about $300 a ticket.
Yeah.
So I was $50 off my estimate on what the operational costs and all the rest of it for the Arizona Coyotes were. I should be a what do they call it? A forensic accountant. Yeah.
Sure you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go from that to what you're doing now to doing that. I bet you'd be really good at it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
so
just
anyways,
need to find
Montreal
an
was
employer
great.
that thinks that.
Montreal was great. Montreal was there people, everybody who said that it should be the permanent site of the draft was absolutely right. It was the atmosphere was incredible.
Yep.
Everybody was into it. You know, they booed Bettman when they were supposed to. They cheered. They did, everything. And it was really, really good. It was really well done.
Yep.
And, Montreal's a great city to begin with. So it's not hard to have a good time there.
So I had friends that were...
But I'm not taking my wife every year, wife. Like, just because it's a 4-hour drive
she's
away.
Not bothering listening to you on a podcast. She's barely going to listen to you at home.
Yeah, no. Nope, she's not listening to this.
I had friends that were in the stands that said that they loved it.
Yeah.
I had friends that were on the floor.
Yep.
Media that said that they loved it. And you went.
Nice. Oh, that's nice.
Pow! Got him. Got him. So should we then start by talking about the draft?
Right.
So first of all, our apologies. I tweeted it out, but Rogers, as those that know, went down. We were planning on doing a podcast from essentially Ken would be on the draft floor and I'd be here in mission control.
Mission control.
Yes,
yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Scarborough, we have a problem.
Scarborough, we have lots of problems.
But amazing restaurants are not one.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
It's just a hidden gem of restaurants here. Be honest.
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's keep going.
Our apologies for not doing that. So we're not going to go into the nitty gritty, all that stuff, because I'm sure you've listened to 35 podcasts that have already gone into all the nitty gritty of everything. We're just going to talk about.
Plus, I wasn't paying attention well enough.
Well, I wasn't paying attention because I didn't have internet. Yeah. So I
Rogers'
know what I mean?
Evil Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so take that, Sportsnet. I thought, wouldn't it be funny if the Wi-Fi went out at the Bell Center?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember once when I was covering the Leafs and they were playing, the Leafs were playing the Capitals in the Verizon, what was then the Verizon Center, I think it was, or something, I don't know. I think it was Verizon Center. Anyways, they called up. It was like when you still had to call up when they were doing a review or something.
Yeah.
And the phone didn't work. And Curtis Joseph made a joke about that. That was pretty good.
Oh, well, Cujo's known for his quick wit.
He is.
Yes.
He is.
So we're going to talk about the first four. Shane Wright, as everyone expected, out of the top three. Just as we all had predicted.
Yep. Just as for the last 2 years, everybody's been nailing that one.
So let's start off. Top of the list, Slafkovsky.
Yep.
What did you think of the Slafkovsky pick? What did you think was going through Kent Hughes' mind?
Well, okay.
Or Hugo, as it were.
I guess I'm loath to say, yeah, great pick, bad pick, this kind of pick, that kind of pick, because I've been to at least 25 drafts, maybe 30. I follow this, I follow it afterwards, and there's pretty much an established pattern in almost every draft.
Right.
Right. And so there's going to be a couple of guys in the top 10 that aren't going to work out.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a guy that was picked in the 6th round who's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And then there's going to be a guy who's now playing for the Oakville Blades and wasn't even drafted and is going to be a great player.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I really and I just I'm not going to sit here and say, this is a good pick, this is a bad pick, when there are people who make their livings in their lives, and they watch these players play 100 times
a little bit of
a year.
insufficient information.
Yeah, exactly.
To go off
So,
of for that.
but anyways, I thought it was interesting, and what I can tell you is what I was hearing from those people, what I was hearing from those scouts, and a lot of those scouts that I talked to before the draft were saying, there's something not there. He's not dynamic. Shane Wright, I'm talking about. Shane Wright.
Yeah.
He's not dynamic.
Yeah.
He wasn't good this year. He missed the whole year. He was a lot better in the second half of the year.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's also on the Kingston Frontenacs, which was not a.
Well, they were a pretty good team this year. They were pretty good. They were pretty good. But like most 18-year-olds would give their left, to have 92 points in 64 games.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Arm.
So I think arm. Yeah. But I think that he was a victim of expectation.
Yep.
And the expectation was, and then you start to pick apart things. You start to find things that are wrong.
Yeah.
And he misses a year, and stuff. So, but I just, the scouts I talked to, they were all like, we'd go and watch him play. We'd say he didn't do much. And then I'd talk, the guy would say, I'd talk to a guy who watched him 2 nights later, and I'd say, hey, how was he then? And same thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Shane Wright is now going to go on a 31 city barnstorming tour with the Seattle Kraken to shove it up everybody's butt. Like that death stare was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe he just says, screw it.
Yeah.
I am going to show all these people that they were wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to play with a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
He might. I don't know. Slavkovsky, it's interesting because if you talk to Craig Ramsey, who coaches the Slovak national team, he will say, I can tell you why he was picked first.
Right.
He had like 1 goal in a month and a half in Finland this year.
Yeah.
In league play. But it's different. They don't play.
Top 5 hockey league in the world as well.
It is. It's a very good league.
Yeah.
They don't play as much.
Yeah.
If you're a young guy, you tend to get put in a defensive role, that kind of thing. They roll 4 lines, like in Sweden and Finland, like they just roll 4 lines, right? They don't, but I mean, you look at him, what he did in the Olympics, you look at what he did in the World Championship, and boy, oh boy, I mean, it's hard to argue with that level of play in those situations. Both of which are kind of watered down a bit. I mean, the Olympics wasn't
true.
Wasn't what
best.
we were. Yeah, it wasn't best on best. Neither is a World Championship. But I mean, for an 18-year-old to come in and do that, and I think they met with him, and Jeff Molson met with him on like the couple of days before the draft, and they were really impressed by his level of maturity.
Yeah.
But then you know what? Like, I've seen more guys get fooled by interviewing players.
Yeah.
Like I've always said, give me the dumbest guy in the draft. Give me that guy. I want the guy who can't add 2 + 2.
Right.
I want that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if he's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. But I know a lot of teams and a lot of scouts and a lot of GMs who have gotten snowed by a guy who comes through in an interview and he sounds like he's going to be the greatest guy ever, and he is a great guy, but then it turns out he can't play.
The flip side of that is, didn't somebody want to fight Yakupov? Didn't Brian Burke want to fight Yakupov after the Yakupov interview?
Yeah, something like that.
There's a story about that.
Yeah.
So did you hear about Kent Hughes' injury at the draft right after making that pick?
The Slavkovsky pick?
Yeah, he had an injury.
What was it?
He sprained his ankle. Do you know how he did that?
No.
He fell off of his giant testicles.
Wow.
Sprained his ankle.
Wow. Yeah, you went a long way for that one, eh, buddy?
I had to take the long road around.
Long
hook, line, and sinker on that one, baby. So no, but joking aside, I wondered this. Okay, I all things being equal, I would have taken Shane Wright. I've also seen, talking about people being fooled, I've seen people being fooled by a great World Juniors or a great World Championship or whatever, like just a great showing in a tournament, and then all of a sudden everybody's all, clamoring all over each other to get that player. But Kirby Dach was the trade, and we will talk about trades later. And I kind of wonder if they were basically pursuing Kirby Dach and Patrick Laine, and they were like, whichever one we get, we'll draft the opposite of that player. So if we can get Kirby Dach, then we're drafting Slafkovsky, and if we can get Patrick Laine, then we're going to draft Shane Wright. Because I think that, and we will talk about the trade more, but I just think that they're probably thinking to themselves, Kirby Dach has had a couple years of very disappointing, but
very disappointing
of development. He's had a couple years of development in Chicago. And is Kirby Dach, when he was drafted, how does he compare to Shane Wright at 18?
Right.
And so why not get 21-year-old Shane Wright as in Kirby Dach? And so I just think that there's that. I mean, something that a friend of mine texted me as well, though, before the draft was he's a Leafs fan, and he goes, yeah, you guys should definitely get Slafkovsky. I remember when the choice in Toronto was a boring center that, who cares? He's just so boring compared to a really out there winger who scores lots of goals. Referring to Matthews and Laine, right? Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, it's a pretty obvious choice now, in hindsight. And so, do you have more to say on Slafkovsky, or do you want to move on to number two?
I do have one more thing to say on Slafkovsky that does concern me, and that is that I don't think you ever, unless it's an exceptional player, you don't draft to fill a position.
Yes.
And I think the last time the Canadians did that, they regretted it.
When they
drafted
times.
Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And now I'm thinking,
and Alex Galchenyuk.
and now I'm thinking, did they envision their top line being Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, and Uri Slafkovsky?
That's what Slafkovsky said.
Yeah. So that would concern me. However, I do think the guy he's a beast.
Yeah.
They need, they need some size. And I mean, Shane Wright's got good size, but
Slafkovsky's probably fairly can't miss, though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Shane Wright will maybe be a number one center, probably be a number two center, but you could
might
see
be
him,
a number three center.
But you could see him slipping to be a 3 or 4.
He might. No, I don't think he'll be 4.
Well,
I think he has a chance to be an elite number 3, like an elite number 3.
Sure.
Or a good number 2.
Yeah. My thing about always the Nick Bonino. Where's your Nick Bonino, right? If you want to win a cup. But anyways, my point is that Shane Wright, there was a pretty varied set of outcomes, whereas Uri Slafkovsky, I think that if you were to basically, like a 90% chance he becomes a top 6 winger?
Yeah.
Maybe better.
Yeah.
If we maybe 90% for a top line winger and 99% for a top 6 winger. So I think that there is a little bit of it's the safer pick, even though it's not the
Slafkovsky. No, I have to disagree.
You don't think so?
Dylan. No, I think Shane Wright was the safe pick. And you talked about him falling off his big testicles, and that's because he went with the not safe pick.
Shane Wright was a safe pick because he was the consensus pick.
Right. Yeah, and also because he may not get much better, but you know what you're going to get. You're going to get a guy who's going to be an industrious two-way. Although I think when I've talked to scouts too, this whole business of him being this defensively conscious guy is a little bit that's overrated. There's a little bit of gilding the lily there, and people are sort of thinking that this guy's going to be Patrice Bergeron when, it's saying anybody's going to be Patrice Bergeron is dangerous. But
the comparable I got was Nick Suzuki.
Yeah.
And because the comparable I got was Nick Suzuki, the person that I thought Montreal might be taking a close look at was Logan Cooley.
Right.
But let's jump on to number 2. We've taken up a lot of time with Slafkovsky. Let's jump on to number 2. Nemec.
Yeah, Simon Nemec. Yeah.
Simon Nemec. Pretty clearly the best defenseman in this draft class.
Yep. Yeah, he was better. I think he's better than Jurasek. Yeah.
I think there was considered a bit of a divide between him and the next group of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
The thing, and funny that you said drafting for position for the Montreal Canadiens, because my first thought with the New Jersey Devils taking Nemec is that they're drafting for a position. That was my first thought.
Interesting. Well, I was talking to Tom Fitzgerald after the draft, and he was saying that...
Who? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. He was saying that they really, really, again, leaned on Craig Ramsey on that pick too.
Right.
They talked to him they talked to him a lot, and they put a lot of credence into his opinion on this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you think that by saying that, you're saying that you don't think that they're drafting for position.
No, I don't think they are.
They thought was the second best player available.
I mean, and you look down the line at this team, and you've got a top 3 defense core of Dougie Hamilton, Luke Hughes, and Simon Nemec. Pretty good place to start, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there much else to say on Nemec? No. I guess, to me, I'm not 100% sold on Luke Hughes yet, although his
You're not?
No, not 100%.
You're not? Really?
No.
Huh.
We'll see.
You should watch the games, my friend.
No, but you know what? It's a tough position. There's a lot that goes into being a defenseman.
Yeah.
But
and it was tough for Scott Niedermayer for a while too. And then he got really good.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not. Look,
it was really tough. It was really tough for Chris Pronger the first couple of years.
Look, I think that the chances that Luke Hughes becomes an excellent defenseman in the NHL are better than the chances of him falling off the face of the earth. But I'm just saying that I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm looking at my team and Dougie Hamilton, of course, being older now as well with the young team coming up.
Right.
I'm just, I don't think that it's so crazy to say that Simon Nemec, maybe they had him hand in hand with Logan Cooley and they thought, let's take the defenseman. Right.
Yeah.
So let's go to number 3, Logan Cooley, Arizona Coyotes. Boy, that brings some fun to the desert.
It does.
That brings some fun to the desert.
Yeah, and there's people who would have told you before the draft that this guy might be the best of them.
So
this guy might be the best of them. He's a dynamic skater, very offensive.
His hands are outrageous.
Yeah.
His stick handling looks like Trevor Zegras.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. Sources say.
Yeah.
Right? His hands are outrageous. His skating is outrageous. A little bit undersized, but I mean, like, who cares?
Yeah,
right?
No.
The mold is being thrown out, which is great. My thought was that Montreal might go for Logan Cooley, considering the fact that if Shane Wright is like another. There's a male mosquito there.
That's just the biggest bug I've ever seen in my life.
Male mosquitoes don't bite, though.
Oh, they don't, eh?
No. Okay. Females only feed on blood when they produce eggs.
Okay.
Interestingly.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're killing a mother.
I didn't kill it.
No, when
I see. Okay,
you're killing a mother.
All right.
Yeah, you psycho. I thought that Montreal might go for Logan Cooley because you've got Nick Suzuki already.
Yep.
And then you've got a situation where you've got an elite defensive and elite offensive center potentially.
Right.
But yeah, I like Logan Cooley a lot. I'm very, very high on him.
Well, I like that he's going to be going to the University of Minnesota for probably at least a year.
He should,
yeah. No, I like that.
And especially for his size to be an NCAA program where he's going to be hitting the old pumping some iron, as it were.
Well, yeah, they play on weekends and they practice and work out during the week.
Yeah. So that's going to be great. Now, finally, in this draft, let's talk about Seattle Kraken drafting Shane Wright.
Right. Correct.
Right. I mean, they've just got to be like. Well,
it was the start. It was actually the start of 2 very good days for Seattle.
My question with Ron Francis did the horseshoe come out this way or did he have to angle it out? That's my question.
Well, it was the start of 2 very good days because, like I don't follow these prospects like I used to, but from what I could gather from those who do, Seattle did well. Seattle did really well.
I've heard that myself. Yeah.
And so it was the start of 2 good days for them.
Yeah.
And what I think, like, to me, the smartest thing that the Seattle Kraken could do is sign Logan Cooley to an entry-level contract, give him a signing bonus.
Shane Wright, you mean?
Shane Wright.
Yeah.
Give him a signing bonus, give him 7 or 8 games in the NHL, send them back to Kingston.
Yeah, I've heard the idea of sending him back to the OHL. My concern there is that
he's not too good for the OHL. He's not too good.
You don't think that he's bored?
No, I don't think so. No, he's got I mean, there's, he could play in the World Juniors. He could, I think it would be an outstanding thing for him to go back and play junior. I want to talk about the 5th pick too.
Oh, let's talk about the 5th pick. I've got very little to say on the subject.
Yeah. Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah,
of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah. Of the program.
The program. But here's like, because I have a good story on this.
Oh, okay, good.
I have a really good story about that.
I want to hear it.
Okay, so Cutter Gauthier, first of all, a guy who rocketed up the charts too.
Yes.
Another guy who was, maybe wasn't being talked about this highly in the past, until sort of quite recently.
Yep.
Right. But anyways, so I used to work at a newspaper in Sudbury, which is my hometown. Cutter Gauthier's father, Sean, was the goalie for the AAA midget team.
Really?
In that city. So I know Sean.
Right.
And so I saw him after the draft.
Yeah.
On Friday night.
Yeah.
And so we chatted and everything, and it's like Cutter. And I said, is Cutter, like, what is that? And he goes, well, his mother-in-law, Sean Gauthier's mother-in-law, when he was in Sweden, she was visiting, and she saw this term in a Swedish cookbook. And she thought, that's a great name. And they thought, what a great name. So they called him Cutter.
Huh.
It's got nothing to do with apropos of nothing, right?
Right.
And so they called him Cutter. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Cutter was the bad guy that turned good at the end of Ants.
Okay, great.
The Woody Allen movie?
Oh, yeah? No, I haven't seen it.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's where I thought he got it from.
No, he got it from this.
Yeah.
And anyways, so where was I? So I go to my buddy Uffe Bodin from Sweden.
Right.
And I said, hey, so anyways.
When you're cooking
like,
Swedish,
what's the deal? What's the deal here with this?
What's Cutter?
What's the deal with this Cutter thing? He goes, He says, I don't know.
Yeah.
He says, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
He says, the only word that's close to it is katter, which means cats. And I said, well, you're not going to find that in a Swedish cookbook, are you? I hope not.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like he doesn't even know. Like it's a big mystery.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't cook though.
No, I think he would know it.
You asked an NHL scout about a cookbook.
No, he's not
cooking.
an NHL scout. He's a fellow journalist.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, he said, I don't know. I have no idea. He says, I'm as bewildered by it as everybody else.
So it's
This
funny
kid's
because
super
I
confident
asked
too.
you,
Wow.
I asked you, I was like, before the podcast started, I was like, give us a tidbit from the draft that like you're not going to get anywhere else. And you're like, oh, Dylan, I've got no tidbits.
No.
That was like 5-minute story on Cutter.
Yeah.
On Cutter Gauthier.
And he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good player. He's good. He's been moved from left wing to center, going to Boston College next year. I just love the kid's moxie. He's really confident without being an arse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, he just really has it going.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's got Sudbury connections. So he's great.
So he's good in your book.
He's good in my book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's excellent. So do you want to go on to trades or free agency? Let's do trades.
I don't care.
You don't care, eh? Let's take a look at some of the trades. So first trade we've got to look at, because we've already sort of alluded to it, is Montreal flips Alexander Romanov and I think a third, 13th. Like the 98th overall.
No, didn't they?
No, they flipped Romanov and a pick
to
get the 13th.
To get the 13th pick and then flip the 13th pick.
Yeah. To the New York Islanders.
Correct.
And then, which I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And then they flipped the 13th and another pick for Kirby Dach. And I was like, oh, that's what we did with that.
Yep.
Well, that's quite the wheeling and dealing, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, tell me what you think about it.
I hate this trade.
Tell me why.
I hate it.
Okay, tell me why.
I hate this trade. Like, you don't trade a young defenseman.
Yeah.
You don't. What happened the last time that the Canadians traded a promising young Russian defenseman for an underachieving forward? What happened the last time they did that?
Gee, I don't know. There's two Stanley Cups involved.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that Romanov is as good as Sergachev, but when Romanov hits you, like
you stay hit.
Well, your whole family feels it. You know what I mean? Like that guy, and he loved, like, I was talking to some of Montreal guys. He loved playing there. He'd be out 20 minutes early every practice.
I can tell you that.
He loved playing there. He was into it. He wanted to be part of the solution.
Yeah.
He was a good player. He played hard. He hit. He did, and he had his warts, whatever, but I hate this trade. I hate it, and I'm going to say it right now. I hate it, and I think it's going to be a disaster.
I think, and this is just my little conspiracy theory brain coming in on this, I think that this was a little bit of getting rid of Bergevin's pet project.
Yeah, well, okay, then you throw then that is the textbook definition of throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
I would agree with you. So I jumped around natural stat trick on Kirby Doc.
Yeah.
And I didn't find anything redeeming.
No, he's been not good.
No, but I'm saying I started off with broad.
Yeah.
Like shot share, Corsi share, expected goals for percentage, stuff like that.
Right.
And then I got more and more specific, individual scoring chances created, stuff like that. Like I got more and more specific, and I couldn't find anything in publicly available data.
Yeah.
Now they have AI machine learning data that they collect from Sport Logic and ClearSight Analytics.
Sure they do. Yeah.
No, every team, almost every team in the NHL is.
Don't know what you're talking about.
My point is that I couldn't find anything redeeming on Kirby Doc.
Right.
Now, does that mean that Kirby Doc has not become a good player?
He's big and not physical. He doesn't win draws. He hasn't progressed. He hasn't developed. He's the poster child for being put into an NHL situation way too early before he was able to handle it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If this is Martin St. Louis' quest, and this is why he's in Montreal. Well, he's
follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far. Don Quixote.
Yeah, I know.
The man of La Mancha.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I know every word of the song.
Yeah, don't.
You want me to continue?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I do not.
You had this look on your face that said, please go on.
I did, eh? Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Wow.
You had this look on your face like I'm about to strangle you and you'll never sing again. But anyways.
Wow, you just gave me a good idea. Anywho. I'm gonna bring some dental floss to the next podcast.
So up next, Garrett. We're talking about Garrett Sparks. No, I'm going to Garrett you.
So anyhow, like if this is why they brought Martin St. Louis in and he can do it, then great, good on him. But
they trust their development.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what they're saying. What they're saying is that they trust their ability to rehab a player.
They do? Well, like, but what evidence do they have? I mean, they've hired some good people.
Cole Caulfield getting one goal before the year and then being like third in rookie scoring by the end of the year, right?
Okay, yeah. But that's just
doing that in like 2 months.
Yeah, but that's just like just like go out and play.
I know.
You know what I mean?
It's, you know what? It's like the Francois Allaire thing,
It's
right?
like when Barry Melrose had Steven Stamkos, and then when Barry Melrose left, Steven Stamkos was really good in his rookie year.
Yeah.
I just
It's Francois Allaire, right? Dined out on training Patrick Waugh for his entire career.
Oh, he had a lot of age, Gary. He had some good. I mean, Waugh was a crown jewel, but anyways, I hate this trade. I hate it, and I'm not gonna pretend I like it.
Yeah.
When I don't, I think it's a bad trade, and I think it's not gonna end well.
The bottom line for the Montreal Canadiens is
I stand to totally be corrected, and I'll eat my words if he ends up being a really good player. But
I think that he could wind up being a good player, but it's gonna take some doing. But the bottom line with this trade is that Romanov is a left shot defenseman.
Yep.
That is currently good.
Yep.
Not currently great.
Right.
And may or may not develop into great.
May and may not develop into great, but may develop into Vladimir Konstantinov, which is really damn good.
But he is one of like 3 or 4 left shot defensemen that the Montreal Canadiens have in their organization.
Right, they're stocked that are good. And they've got guys coming up.
And so do you turn around and like if Jordan Harris, for example, seems pretty set to be an excellent left shot defenseman.
Yeah.
Looked excellent last year in the few games that he played. But he'd be a harder sell. Hey, Jordan Harris for your 13th overall, get bent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you got to turn around and you say, well, how much do I like Jordan Harrison and Alexander Romanov? Maybe you like them the same, maybe even like Romanov a little bit more. But at the end of the day, if that's the move you make, then that's the move you make. And I see Romanov as very good. I like him. I've written a lot of articles about him this year and the little subtleties that he's added to his game. He used to just hit people. Yeah. Now he leads with the stick and hits.
Yeah.
And so even when he misses the hit, he knocks the puck off the stick a lot. Like he's getting smarter. Martin St. Louis opened him up a lot offensively, which he was very good offensively when he joined the Montreal Canadiens.
Right.
And then, certain directions of the team said, no, we don't like offensive flair from really anybody.
We hate goals.
We hate goals on this team. For and against. So I like Romanov. I wouldn't disagree with anything you're saying on Romanov. I guess my point is that I don't think that they're any more certain that Romanov will become a top 4 defenseman than they are that Jordan Harris becomes a top 4 defenseman, than they are that Jaden Struble becomes a top 4 defenseman, than they are that Barron becomes a top. Justin Barron becomes a top 4.
I mean, Caden Gooley, they know is going to be a top 4 defenseman. Caden Gooley is going to be a top pairing defenseman. But even
how did I forget Caden Gooley?
Even if like Romanov is in your 5-6, and he plays 18 minutes a game and he plays physical and plays shutdown and stuff like that. Like, I just don't see the value.
I know.
I don't see trading that value. I don't see it.
This is always the
joke. For what you're getting back. I don't see it.
This is always the joke with NHL teams, which is when a prospect becomes expendable because they think that they have another prospect of that caliber. It's like, we've got a blue chip defensive prospect. And I'm now thinking about the Sergachev trade, and they felt that Noah Juleson was a blue chip defensive prospect at the time.
Yeah, you were searching around. He's an unrestricted free agent.
No, he just got signed by Vancouver.
Oh no, he got signed by Vancouver. Okay,
Anyways, they thought that Noah Juleson was a blue chip defensive prospect, and so they're like, "Well, we don't need 2 of those." And it's like, well, maybe 2 is good.
Maybe 5 is good. Yeah. Maybe 8 is good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what do you think? Like every trade deadline. What's your biggest need? Oh yeah, we need a good number 4 defenseman.
Insider story. Montreal passed on Quinn Hughes because, quote, well, it's not actually a quote, but it's a friend of mine that is in the know. Yeah. They already had a small defenseman in Victor Mete. We don't need 2 small defensemen. And all small defensemen are the same small defenseman.
Yeah.
Victor Mete, who just got not qualified by the juggernaut Ottawa Senators. All right, let's move on from the Montreal Canadiens talk before we piss off everybody else. Toronto managed to get rid of Peter Mrazek for losing 13 places in the draft.
And they get praised for it. Way to go. Way to go. You moved down 13 spots to get rid of a goalie. Good
Toronto
job.
currently has no goalies on the team. Cal Shelgren or whatever. Come on, like they've got no goalies on the team.
Right.
We'll get into that, I suppose, come free agency talk.
Right.
I mean, it was a lot of money. It was a lot of contract for Peter Mrazek.
It was.
So I you know what? I fall under the category of praising them for it.
Why? Why do you praise them for it? It was a bad signing.
It was a bad signing. You're right.
And it was a bad signing when it was done.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just I would have praised. Okay. It would have been easier to praise him for it if it wasn't the same GM that did the signing. Like if this was like Lamoriello signing and then
But this is like an episode of Gilligan's Island. Or Scooby-Doo. Right. He screws everything up and then he fixes it all and it's like, oh, you're the hero.
Yeah.
What? Like what? Come on. No, I can't believe that he was universally praised for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now,
I hope
like,
nobody remembers who signed him.
What was the strength of the Toronto Maple Leafs for the last 5 years?
Goaltending.
I'm
just kidding.
That's good though. No, it was their young players. It was what they had coming up the pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, not so much.
Toronto has had more players picked up on
so much.
waivers in the last 5 years than any other team. And it's because, like you said, the strength of those players coming up.
But you don't know what Rasmus Sandin is yet.
No, you don't know what Rasmus Sandin is.
You don't know what Timothy Liljegren is yet.
Okay, the cat. The Brinkat.
The Brinkat.
Yes.
Yeah.
The big cat.
Yeah, what was
/ tiny cat, the house cat that scores a lot of goals.
He does.
Yeah. I almost said went to Chicago. Went to the Ottawa Senators for a decent package of picks.
Yeah, it was
But
good,
you got to think that there's other teams that would have been happy to do that. A 7th overall, a 39th overall, and a 2024 third round pick.
Yep.
So this is one of these ones where it's weird for both teams for me. Because Chicago, what are you guys doing?
Right.
You've still got Taves and Kane, and there seems to not be clarity in terms of reset, retool, rebuild, whatever the word you want to use on it. There doesn't seem to be clarity there. And for Ottawa,
there's lots of clarity in Chicago. They are in the Bumble for Berard sweepstakes.
Well,
they are firmly the front runners in the Bozo for Berard sweepstakes at this
Bedard.
point. Why did I say Berard?
Why interviewed did I say him.
That? Why did I say that?
I don't know.
Bozo for Bedard sweepstakes.
Yeah. I think, and then the other side of it is that Ottawa, like, I just made fun of teams for having this attitude, but they already have a lot of really talented, undersized players.
Yeah.
This wasn't what they needed. I don't know that DeBrincat scores 40 goals.
Probably
surrounded
not.
by what? Tim Stützle? You know?
Yeah.
Because who's doing the dirty work? Look, I love the fact that, like I said with Logan Cooley, like I said with Trevor Zegras, I like the fact that the mold is getting thrown out and these younger guys are given some breathing room in the NHL. But for crying out loud, like you got, like, somebody's got to go to the boards sooner or later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the amount of tiny guys that can win a board battle is limited to Brendan Gallagher.
Mm-hmm.
It is him and him alone. And after that, you've got to be over 6'2" to win the board battle. I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, so I don't know what Ottawa's doing. It seems like such a bizarre thing. Like, it just seems like if you've got a car collection and you've got like 4 Lamborghini Countaches, you're not going around going, oh boy, get me a Lamborghini Countach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and from Chicago's point of view, like, if you're Seth Jones, you're standing there going, what?
Well, and that's what I mean when I say the clarity with Chicago, because he just signed that contract last year.
Right.
That was Chicago's indicator of saying, we're going for it again. And then they just...
I'm just reading tea leaves here, but...
Yeah.
I mean, Taves and Kane are on the last year of their deals.
Yeah. Put me on a cup contender at the trade deadline.
Or before.
Yeah.
Like, why would you... Like, if you're going to tear it down the way they're tearing it down...
Yep.
Then tear it down.
Yep.
Tear it down.
Yep.
Because Kane and Taves aren't going to be interested in coming back after next year unless it's a legacy thing. Unless Taves says, yeah, I really want to be a Chicago Blackhawk for life.
I can see Taves doing it. Yeah. I don't see Kane doing that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, all due respect to Taves, like, Kane's got a lot more to give.
Kane's got 1,000 times more to give.
No,
Kane is still he's an elite winger in the NHL.
Yeah, no, I know.
He's an absolutely elite winger who drives offense for a line.
But what I'm saying is that Taves could be looking at his career and saying, it's winding down anyways.
Exactly.
I finished it off. And, whereas Kane, he turns around and he goes, I'm still, I could still be a top line winger on a Stanley Cup team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Georgiev to the Avalanche for a bucket of picks, 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick, and then a 2023 3rd round pick.
Good return for the Rangers, I think, and a very, very, very good trade for Colorado.
The word on the street was that the Rangers wanted more for Georgiev. They wanted a
Yeah.
roster player, a pick, and a prospect, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the
Yeah, yeah.
classic
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
trifecta that every team is going for. There's one little hiccup here, which is that Georgiev is, how should I put this? Not good.
I don't think he's not good.
So, okay.
I think he's not great.
Here's what I struggle with. With Georgiev. He had flashes of being decent when he was backing up Lundqvist.
Right.
Then Shesterkin came in, took over the net, rightfully so. And Georgiev has looked like an absolute bozo every time that he steps into the net since Shesterkin has come in. Now, is that because between the ears he is completely screwed and he needs a fresh start and needs I guess I'm just basically saying like I could be wrong here. Like there could be some like a mitigating factor, which is that you know, and I could be wrong here, right?
Yeah.
But Georgiev meant like I don't think I've seen any goalie in the NHL let more goals through 5-hole.
Right.
Than Georgiev this year. And it's not to say, you know, I don't like it when people go, 5-hole week or this week, but it is to say that like it's little things for him. It's like he doesn't drive his knees to the ice, right? Like the most important thing for a goalie decisively, not the most important thing, but a very important thing is that when that shot's coming and you have determined that you're going into the butterfly, drive those knees to the ice.
Okay.
You don't fall, you drive them to the ice.
I see. Okay. That's
And he's let in goals
Yeah.
5-hole because he's not driving them to the ice.
Okay.
This is day one stuff. And what it suggests double, triple, quadruple guessing what's going on. And so what should have been an easy save because it went into your bread basket after you drove your knees to the ice is going through his legs while he's still falling.
Okay.
It's little stuff like this that really makes me concerned about Georgiev. But look, I was wrong about Kemper. I said that the Colorado Avalanche, I said that Kemper wasn't good enough to win.
Right.
But then the Colorado Avalanche just said he is if he doesn't get any shots.
Exactly.
So maybe Georgiev doesn't get any shots.
Yeah, like if in the third period of Game 6, we just don't let Tampa touch the puck, it's going to be really hard for them to score.
Yeah.
So we're going to win. I think, you know, the Colorado Avalanche just won the Stanley Cup with a goalie who posted the worst save percentage of the salary cap era.
Right.
Right? So like it's like why would you overspend on a goalie?
Yeah.
Why would you overspend?
Yeah, because a third, a fifth, and a third, 2/3 and a fifth is it's squat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Diddly squat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last trade to talk about, I think it's the last big one on the list, is Ryan McDonough from the Tampa Bay Lightning to the Nashville Predators for Philip Myers and Grant Mismatch.
Mismatch. It's a mismatch. And they've got a mishmash of players.
Yeah.
Ryan
McDonough.
Salary dump.
Yeah, I know, but
and
you know what?
Maybe they can keep Palat now. Maybe they can keep Palat.
Ryan McDonough, and this is like my hot take, and it's based a lot more on deployment and eye test than it is numbers and all the rest of it. I think McDonough might have been the best defenseman on the Lightning in this playoffs.
Might have been. When they won the cup the first year,
Yeah.
John Cooper said he was like a Conn Smythe candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this year,
He's not gonna age well. Like he's gonna break down.
Yeah,
You know. But this was just Tampa getting things in order
yeah.
so that they can try and keep their team together.
Yeah.
Although he was a big part of that team. He was a huge part of that team.
Huge part of that
and
team.
it was part of the reason why they lost their third line last year, because it took them 10 years to get their defense the way it was.
Yeah.
And now they've got to say, okay, you know what? I think if they win the cup this year, they don't make that trade. Maybe they do. I don't know.
It's a tough one to say, but I really think that this is like, you know, last year they lost the third line.
Yeah.
I think this hurts more. I think that's the difference between a kick in the shin and a kick in the nuts.
Right.
One, you go, and you grab your shin. The other one, you're just down and out for the count. Like I really, I mean, look, Hedman is a specimen. He is a specimen that can play 25 to 30 minutes a night if you want him to. You'd want to rest him in the regular season if you plan on doing that in the playoffs. Hedman is a specimen, but like McDonough took a lot of heavy lifting.
He did. And
year.
so now you're saying, okay, who's going to do that? Is it going to be Ruda? Is it going to be Chernak? You know, is Cal Foot going to make
Yeah.
the progress that we hope he's going to make,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Chernak was his partner for much of the playoffs, was McDonough's partner.
Yeah.
And so is Chernak now able to be the guy that carries that pairing as opposed to McDonough carrying that pairing? And Chernak, not to take anything away from him,
Yeah.
right? Because he obviously played excellent. But anyways.
The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on the action. Okay, that's it. 3, 2, 1. The action never ends at DraftKings Sportsbook, especially this summer. With tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, you can fuel your fandom and feel the heat of the season like never before. Plus, right now, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right. Make your first bet up to $1,000, and if it doesn't win, you'll get another shot to cash in. You can throw down on all the major action for baseball, golf, MMA, and more. Plus, with same-game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and props, your betting options feel endless. Best of all, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN, make your first deposit, and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
All right, let's go. Before we get to free agency, a little look at free agency. Check out kencampbell.substack.com for all of your writing needs. Lots of great draft coverage. While Ken was in Montreal, I don't know how he's found time to write on top of all of the obligations with fellow writers.
No, it wasn't. It was with my
your
wife. We
Yes,
totally
okay,
went
right.
through this.
Yeah, obligations
I had to
with
go
your wife.
cycling. I had to go to the jazz festival. I had to go to dinner.
I wanted to go to the jazz festival. Wait, I told you that the jazz festival was going on.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Yeah.
So check out kencampbell.substack.com. Check out Ken_Campbell27 on Twitter, at Ken_Campbell27. Check out myself at _Dylan Waugh. And check us out also the podcast on Twitter at Hockey No Filter. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Do the stuff that helps us with the other stuff. But our reviews are just so lacking on Apple Podcasts. But you know what? That's all right. We do this for the satisfaction of doing it.
Correctamundo.
Yeah, we know we're good. We don't need your validation. Okay, so
I would like it.
Yeah, I mean, we would want it a lot.
Yeah.
But
we're not going to beg.
We're not going to beg for
Please.
it. Okay, yeah. So free agents, we've broken this up into top 3, like what we think are going to be the top 3 under the radar signings, the top 3 absolute anchors of a contract, and the top 3 best free agents that are on the market that are going to make a lot of impact on their team. So let's start from under the radar signings.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I went through the list. It was hard to par it down.
I would compare this free agent class to this year's draft. Like, no, I would.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, not, you don't have the superstar quality, but you got a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
You got a lot of good ones. And for me, the best kind of like dark horse ones, like I love Vincent Trocheck.
Ooh, he's a good one.
Yeah. Like I love Andrew Copp.
Yeah.
Like,
so I didn't put Andrew Copp as a dark horse though.
oh yeah.
I didn't put him on any list. I just felt like he was too well known to be a dark horse on my list.
Okay. I mean, so is Ricard Raquel too well known too then?
He's on my list for dark horse.
Yeah. And like a David Perron. And the reason why I say David Perron is because probably St. Louis is going to be able to get him on a hometown discount.
Yeah.
And that's great. Like,
okay, so give me your 3
Brendan
then.
Smith. Like I just gave you a bunch.
Oh, I thought we were doing 3.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't get it down to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my 3.
My 3 are going to be, okay, I'll go.
Trocheck.
Yeah, Trocheck, Copp, and Perron.
Yeah. They're good players.
Yeah.
They're good players. And they might be wanting for contracts after the day one.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
My 3 are Ricard Raquel, Brett Kulak, and here is the bombshell, because we were talking about this a little bit off air. Andrew Hammond.
Yeah. Well,
He's a free
isn't
agent.
he 100?
Sorry?
Isn't he 100?
He's 35.
That's 100 in hockey.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
The reason why, like, what I kind of weighed out in my mind was what their dollars to impact are going to be. And I think that Andrew Hammond, I think that if somebody takes a league minimum flyer on him, I think that he is going to do well. And I think that he went from being possibly the most overrated goalie in the NHL to being possibly the most underrated goalie in the NHL. Ooh. And this is what happens when goalie nerds like myself start talking a little bit too loudly.
Right.
Because Hammond was never as good as his big run in Ottawa. Right. And so all the goalie nerds like myself start going, well, he sucks. He looks terrible. All the rest of it. Right.
Yeah.
But then, which is true. It's not necessarily like wrong, but then he's now has a long history of still stopping pucks at a decent rate.
Right.
Well, so what? So I can turn around and say he's doing it all wrong. Well, Mickey Mantle held his bat weird. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's just like, so anyways, I think the Leafs should get Andrew Hammond. There's my hot take.
Okay.
I think the Leafs should get Andrew Hammond. I think that he is the answer to their prayers.
Okay.
Because I don't see him as being worse than the other options out there in net, and he's going to cost a heck of a lot less.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, and then Brett Kulak, again, I don't think he's going to cost nothing.
Yeah.
I think somebody's going to get him for like $1.5 million.
Yeah, those
and he's
are
going to
the
be
guys.
a second pairing guy.
Like, there are so many guys out there that you could just say, this guy's a guy we need to just fill in a niche here, you know? And there are so many guys like that out there.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the top 3 anchor contracts or the top 3?
Not anchor. Well, yeah, overpaid or like the anchor.
Well, I'm calling them an anchor
whatever.
contract.
Yeah, sure.
All right, who's your first one?
Valerie Nichushkin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Somebody is probably
I
going
knew
to be
you were going
Dallas.
to pick Nichushkin, so I didn't pick him.
Somebody and it's probably going to be Dallas is going to overpay that guy big time.
Yeah.
Based on a really good playoff.
Yeah.
He's still Valerie Nichushkin. And he's good. And he had a career year and everything, but
he's better than the guy that didn't score. And he's not as good as the guy that was in the playoffs this year.
Yep.
He's Valerie Nichushkin.
Yep.
I completely agree. My first one on the list, Ben Sherratt.
Okay.
I think that GMs are still.
Do you think that though after that playoff?
You want to know why? Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
Yes.
Because
I do want to know
I'm
why.
the idiot.
I do want to know why. I do want to know why. You asked me 3 times, so I thought I had to answer 3
Okay,
times.
well, Jacob 2-2 is not enough for me. I'm Dylan 3-3. And I wrote a rhyme about it, apparently.
Okay.
I'm the idiot that thought Ristolainen would be a good pickup because, of course, GMs know that he's not very good.
Yeah.
And then he got a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
And Ben Sherratt is nothing if not a slightly better Ristolainen. So if his agent is going and being like, oh, Ristolainen's a comparable, which is a good comparable, to be honest.
Yeah, but
he'll get paid.
Comparables in unrestricted free agency, they don't put. I don't think GMs put a lot of stock into it.
Okay, so Ristolainen was a mid-year signing, an extension, right?
Yeah.
Free agency costs you either an extra $1 million or an extra year.
Yeah.
What do you want for Ben Sherratt? The extra $1 million on Ristolainen or the extra year?
Yeah.
They're like the same age. They have the same style of game, right? Anyways, Ben Sherratt is just gonna. Oh man, it's unbelievable. Who's next on your list?
Ilya Mikheyev.
Oh, I almost put him as under the radar. I almost put him as one of my top 3 under the radars.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me why Ilya Mikheyev.
Just because he's fast.
What do you think? You think that the team's going to overpay him a lot?
Yeah, I do. I think he's going to get more money in term than he would have because he played in Toronto. And
I feel like he doesn't quite have the points counts to really dictate that, but
yeah.
Okay.
Well, you wait.
I like him as a player a lot, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You do, eh? Okay.
I do, but I mean, like, the thing about him in Toronto is that he's just more of what Toronto doesn't need.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Much like DeBrincat going to Ottawa.
I think Toronto has basically said, yeah, we're going to move on.
Thanks for the memories.
Yeah, we're going to move on here. Yeah.
Okay, so my second is Evander Kane.
That he was my third.
Okay.
or 3. I had 3A and 3B.
I've got a 3A, 3. No, not on this one. I've got 3 though.
Yeah.
Evander Kane, you take it away, Ken.
Well, you don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
he's got
a shelf life.
Yeah.
He kept his nose clean for 4 months, and now he's going to get another 3-year contract.
Yeah.
At a decent money.
Yeah.
That's what do you say about him? Mm-hmm. All right, who's your third? Well, that was Evander Kane.
Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux. That's a
Claude
good
Giroux.
one. That's a
He's
very
going
good
to
one.
get wildly overpaid and overtermed.
I know, for a guy that's 34 now.
34.
Yeah. Poof.
I would stay away, far away from that.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? 2 years ago, we've had a flat salary now for a few years now, right?
Fairly flat.
Yeah.
Flat.
I mean, we're going up $1 million this year.
It's going to go up. It's going to go back up.
2 years ago, Jakob Markstrom got signed for $6 million by 5 years. And he came off of a outstanding season in Vancouver, where he had 3 or 4 good seasons that were a little bit hampered by injury, but then kind of put it all together and had an outstanding season. He was always looking good throughout his whole career, and then he looked great, and then Calgary paid him. The word on that contract was, maybe too much term. That's a lot of money to give to a guy that's only had one good season. The rumor, according to Elliot Friedman, is that Jack Campbell is going to get 5 by 5.
Good for him.
Well, he doesn't have a Vezina.
Nope.
Not to say that the Vezina is the only thing that matters. His best season is not even close to Markstrom's best season.
Well, his best season was...
And the salary cap is more constrained now than it was when Markstrom signed.
He would have had a really good season if a season had been like way back
2
in
months?
like the 1890s when there used to be like a Stanley Cup winner every 3 months.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Jack, I almost did Darcy Kemper, but then I thought, I don't know that Kemper's going to get 5 times 5. And Jack Campbell, in fairness, I think is the best goalie of this free agent class.
Okay.
But 5 times 5 in a more constrained salary cap than Jakob Markstrom getting 6 times 5?
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, you had questions about that, and maybe Jack Campbell is worth
No,
that.
I liked the Markstrom sign.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, personally, I liked it. I'm just saying that there's a narrative about it that it was a lot of money and a lot of term for a guy that was, he was 27, I think, when he signed that.
Yeah,
Markstrom was. He's 27, and Jack Campbell's older. He's like 29.
Yeah, and he's only played 100 NHL games. Like, this year he had played his 100th NHL game.
Whew, send out the pewter stick. I'm very proud of myself for coming up with that one off the cuff. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right, top 3 free agents for impact. I think we probably both have number 1. It's got to be the same guy.
Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's Johnny Hockey.
You know what's weird?
He scored like 120 points this year.
You know what's weird is like,
tell me,
after the draft, you go by the rail and the GMs talk to you and stuff. Brad Treliving seemed shockingly, surprisingly confident that they could still get something done with Johnny Gaudreau.
I do think I don't that know, he wants to be there.
I don't know if that's like pie in the sky, like being hopeful, or if there was a real basis to it.
Your hubris will be your downfall.
But it was he was surprisingly like upbeat about the possibility of them re-signing him.
I think that...
But if you've gone this far, don't you go the distance if you're Johnny Gaudreau now?
Oh, yeah.
Like, if you've gone this far, like, come on.
My mom had a story about buying a car where she went to a car salesman who said, how many dealerships have you been to today? And she said, this is my first one. And he said, go to all the rest, tell me what numbers you get, and come back and tell me. That might be the route with Johnny Gaudreau.
Might be.
Where Brad Treliving, like, the thing is that there seems to be a situation where once you go to free agency, you've resigned it in your mind that you're not going back to that team.
Right.
But if Treliving's pretty confident in the number that he's offering Gaudreau, confident in the fact that Gaudreau wants to play there, which I think that he does
it become like a Steven Stamkos thing where
right.
He goes, he looks around and he
take
goes,
a peek.
Yeah, grass is still pretty green here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Second one, we're probably agreed as well.
Nazem Kadri. Yeah.
Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
What's there to say about Nazem Kadri?
Well, but he might get into the overpaid guy too.
You know what? He might not get into overpaid, but he'll almost definitely get overterm.
Yeah. Overtermed. Yeah.
Oof.
He's getting 7.
100%. Yeah,
wherever he goes,
7.
he's getting 7. Yeah.
So now if you did that as like 7 by 5 or 7 by 6 in order to keep the AAV down,
right,
then you've got my attention.
Yeah.
But if you're going 7x8 or 7x7 even, well,
For a 31-year-old guy.
yeah.
Yep.
It's a lot, but I mean, there's no denying his impact on the ice.
Yep.
There's no denying that his teammates like him. He's good in the room. He's good on the ice.
And so now do you
Guys
go,
like to go to
now
war
do you
with
go,
him.
now do you go, and now do you say, okay, he got it. He's got it. Like he's not going back to what he was. This is what he is. He's figured it out. He's going to be this guy for the rest of his career.
No,
You know?
you see, you're laboring under a misconception here. He hasn't changed. The difference is that he's not on Toronto, so the refs don't hate him anymore.
Oh, that's it. Okay, yeah, that's why. Because the NHL would not ever want Toronto to win.
Yeah.
Like that would just be the worst thing for hockey in ever.
Yeah.
So the NHL has it in for Toronto.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, got it.
Well, anyways,
Got it.
I think that there's a little bit of luck of the draw here. And so I did joke about Toronto just now, but what I will say, and it's not a refs thing, what I will say is that on Toronto, he felt I think, I'm just guessing here, he felt a profound need to be the guy that stands up, the guy that does something when nobody else will.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he felt that same need on the Colorado Avalanche. And so I don't know if it's as much as him getting it or him not feeling like he needs to push himself so much to be that guy, and it allows him to play his game.
Okay, so if you go by that, you know, if you subscribe to that logic, you go, well, he's going to sign a great big deal for a lot of money and a lot of term. He's going to want to go in there and make it look
and
like
make sure that he's making his money. Yeah. Okay, who's your third? Because I did 2 for 3. I did a 3A and a 3B, and I'll just take whoever you didn't take.
I got Andre Palat.
Okay, Palat was my 3A.
And who's your 3B?
John Klingberg. I can't read your writing. What is this?
It is.
It's almost as bad as
Johnny
mine.
Gaudreau, Nazem Kadri,
there you go.
Andre Palat,
John Klingberg. That's funny.
Wow, mind blown.
It's almost like they're all good.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that even the most casual hockey fan could have come up with this list there.
Yes, yeah.
We're not special.
Maybe we're giving ourselves a little too much credit. Yeah.
So then there I was, and computing and compositing all of the information available, and I thought, gee, Palat and Klingberg, they hockey good, don't they? Okay, so Palat's the obvious one. I mean, he was the second line center, even a first line center for a long time in Tampa Bay's latest Stanley Cup run. Palat's the obvious one, but I'm really curious as to why you put Klingberg on that list.
Just because he's I think Dallas is going to really, really miss him. I think Dallas is going to really feel the pain when he goes.
Yeah.
I just love the way he plays both ends of the ice. Hard-nosed guy, plays the game right. I think he's going to be a stud somewhere.
I think
like he would be a guy that if I were looking for that would be the guy that I would throw the bank at.
So the rumor is that Dallas is interested in Jeff Petrie,
right,
as their Klingberg replacement.
And good luck with that.
Well, so here's what I say about that. Petrie is better defensively than he's ever given credit for.
Mm-hmm.
He's excellent in transition. One year when I was watching the internal skills competition for the Montreal Canadiens, Petrie was the second fastest skater on the team. So he is an excellent skater. He's excellent in transition. He's good in his own end, and he's good offensively. Not great offensively, not great in his own end, but good.
Right.
You'd say league average, and then he's got his excellent strengths. Klingberg has that unique ability. Now it's maybe rendered moot because Miro Heiskanen has the same ability.
Right.
But Klingberg has that unique ability to get the puck on his stick, and Subban had this in his day, and Carlson had this in his day, and I don't like Brent Burns never really had this, right? He has the ability to get the puck on his stick in the defensive zone and just off he goes.
Well, and that's why I'm suggesting Dallas is going to miss that because it's so important.
Yeah.
It's so important to get, like, you can have good forwards, but if you don't have somebody who's going to get the puck up to them or get it out of your zone and get it into transition, you're hooped, man. You
But
are
even
hooped.
beyond just the transition and out of the zone, that guy that can just take the puck and skate it to the offensive zone and put an actual scoring chance on that. Not just a shot, not just a slap shot from the blue line, a line change or something stupid like that. Like an actual, like, you know, somebody that's dynamic to that extent. It's just like when people compare it to Patrice Bergeron and they go, oh, this guy's just like Patrice Bergeron. It's like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
He has some of the markings of Patrice Bergeron, but he can't do that. And Jeff Petrie, I feel like he's got the skills to do that, but I don't know that he's got the mind or he's wired to do that.
And I don't know if the body's willing at this point.
Yeah, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
But anyways, my point is just say I think that John Klingberg on the right team will have such a fantastic impact on the ice. And you know, to your point about have the best forwards, you need somebody to get them to puck. To your point about that, I always say Max Pacioretty never scored less than 30 goals until the year that Markov left the Montreal Canadiens.
Right.
Left winger.
Right.
Left defenseman.
Yep.
All of a sudden, he scores 20 goals. He scored 39 2 years earlier.
Right.
Gee, I wonder what happened.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't get a single, he didn't get a buddy, he didn't get a puck on his tape all year.
Dougie Hamilton, when they signed him, like it's like we've got all these talented forwards. We got to have somebody who gets him the puck.
They signed Dougie Hamilton. All of a sudden, Jack Hughes has a breakout year.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the two could be related. Yeah. All right. Well, anything else you want to touch on, or
I don't know.
Oh, it's a long. Well, it's actually not that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got free agency in 2 days. We've got
that'll be exciting.
Arbitration.
Yeah.
No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, check out Ken's Substack. You can get this episode directly into your inbox. And of course, you can get all of Ken's writing, kencampbell.substack.com. Check out Hockey Unfiltered on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Google Podcasts. Check us out on Castbox Podcast. Okay, well, I'm done with that. And of course, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube and drop us a line. We read them, folks. We read them. You write them. You gotta write them to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.